Hello and welcome back to West Navsbury after something of an extended gap. I mentioned in the last episode that I'd been sent overseas with work, and despite my hope that I'd be able to upload some updates from there, even the 2 minute progress update I tried back in August actually took over an hour, so that wasn't really possible. But anyway, I'm back now, and as promised at the end of the baseboard episode, this time I'm going to cover the track planning and track laying, something which is still very much in progress. So, as I mentioned in episode 2, I'd sketched out some rough ideas on what type of track plan I would want in order to give me an idea of how it would fit into the attic room. And I settled on two 2.4 metre scenes either side of the room with the sharper curves to complete the loops hidden off scene. They were going to need to go down to almost second radius, and I didn't feel it would be realistic to have these as part of the scenic part of the layout. So the plan above is roughly what I have settled on, sketched out on a computer shortly after. Um, I'll cover the power feeds in a later episode, but essentially that's what those arrows and the codes refer to. Anyway, essentially the layout is a double track main line. The station is marked above in the centre, and the extreme and left and right of this diagram obviously loop back onto each other on the far side of the layout in real life. So this is a little bit like a world map. If you keep on travelling west, you end up east. The upline is marked here in red, and the downline is marked in blue. Each has a loop. In the case of the upline, this is located on the far side of the layout, and for the downline, it runs through platform 3 of the station. Platform 3 is also the route of what I call the independent line, which I've marked here in yellow. And this is intended to feature truly sort of bi-directional running, which means it can serve platforms 1, 2, and 3, and continues in the up direction to the far side of the layout, where I intend to have some carriage sidings and possibly a stabling area for some locos. Right, so with the baseboards complete and the track plan more or less complete, it was time to start actually laying the track. I've used Pico Code 75 FlexiTrack throughout, as per the previous layout. Most of the lines are concrete sleeper, though some of the off-scene and sidings are wooden sleeper effect. And I've chosen to glue the track to the baseboards this time rather than using track pins. I did consider respacing the sleepers, as I know others have used this to great effect, but in the end I decided not to bother, really, given the inherent scale limitations with OO as opposed to EM and P4, etc. My class 47s are too wide apparently, and so on. It's unlikely to be the least realistic aspect of the layout given my modelling skills anyway. So the first track to be laid was that through the station. And what I did is I used the platform edges to act as a track setter of sorts, but the platforms, remember, are solid strips of pine wood, so they were straight. The homemade spacing block that you can see in the centre of the picture there, that was used to ensure consistent spacing between the two main lines and also between the lines and the platform edges. I was really keen that the straights were actually straight, and actually I've been very pleased with the results. In the case of platform 3, which does have a slightly curved trajectory, the track was again aligned against the platform edge before being glued down. Here you can see a cross-country service passing through platform 3 in the down direction. For the parts of the curves which would be seen, I did spend quite a bit of time trying to achieve a realistic trajectory. Again, I didn't use a track setter, but I'd mark out the trajectory with a Chinograph pen, as you can see there. All the curves on the through running lines are also super elevated. This was using experience from the previous layout, where I achieved it by adding tiny pieces of card underneath the outside rail. As I've said before, this is certainly not a how-to video, but from experience with that previous layout, super elevating the curves does take quite a bit of time, and you have to be quite gradual with those changes in elevation to avoid any kind of running problems. And although subtle, I think the effort is worth it. And you might just notice the effect in some of the running shots. Feel free to let me know your thoughts about track laying. In the meantime, some shots of the trains running to complete this January update. As I mentioned, with having been away for 6 months, there has been little to no progress really in that time, but I hope to have some more progress completed over the next few weeks. Thanks for watching, and perhaps see you next time.